What's up, everybody? It's Brian from HASHWAREHUB. It is about 9:40 p.m. Eastern Time, January 17, 2018. Hit those subscribe buttons, notification bells, re-steam, upvote, etc., whatever you can do for us. Even comments help as well, so we very much appreciate it. We're the new kids on the block, as I say. We're not the boy band, but we're the new ones here. And we're getting a lot of great feedback that people are finding a lot of value in what we're doing, so if you do as well, would definitely appreciate it if you can refer to us or post or repost our videos or whatever else it is on any social media platforms that you're on. It would totally be appreciated by us. XRP, yeah, maybe we'll do it. We'll do one on XRP. So, yeah, we had did a video on Tron some time ago. I don't remember exactly when, but what I do remember is that we were looking at this D right here. We were right at this D level right here, and I'm sorry for the mess of lines, but I got to put them in there. I got to put all of them in here because I'm afraid there's so much of it that I am still leaving out because I don't want people to get completely lost. So it's kind of a tug of war. Because there are alternate accounts that I have. There are many alternate accounts that I have, but I try to show at least the main one or the main two. So what do we have here? So I'm going to try to zoom in here on like a one hour level. And like I said, we were at this D right here, if I remember correctly, on our video, on the last video that we had made. And what we were looking for is we were looking for an E at this bottom. At the bottom of this green line. Okay, see this long green line? This actually green line should be right like this. So we were looking for we were at the D. We were looking for an E to come down and hit this green line. So it didn't quite actually get there technically. Actually, this was closer to like here. And you can see that right here. Sorry, especially if you guys are watching us on a phone, it's probably pretty difficult. But if you get really accurate with this line, putting it at the bottom of this wick here and this wick here, you can see that the E never really happened. Okay, it shot through the D, and the E never really happened. So you start scratching your head, and one of the things you do is you zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. It kind of rhymes. When in doubt, zoom out. When you zoom out, you get to see a bit more of what's going on in the market. And one of the great things about technical analysis, the simplest things, but it's very difficult to pick up if you're a musician or even if you're like a coder. You have a huge advantage. When I say computer, meaning a computer coder, you have a huge advantage. Why? I don't know. Just the minds, those type of minds tend to work best in these types of things when it comes to just measuring the pace of the market. And if you zoom out, one of the things you can take a look at is that if this green triangle was really if it was really the end all be all, this large green triangle would have been a very, very fast sell-off. And you really can't have that in the market. Sell-offs are long, and they really make you question your patience a lot. And it'll make you question yourself, your analytical technique and everything. They make you question everything. So that's one of the things that you need to take a look at. And that's one of the things actually we're looking at across the board, is in particular with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is like the moon that influences the tides here. So this looked rather short as far as a correction in time. If we look to see how long this actually took to happen, right? I mean, look at this huge cup and handle formation, right? And you have like another cup and handle formation, and then you have this huge spike up, and then it took all of this work, and then boom, you correct like here. like in this short period of time, it just doesn't seem to make sense to me. So we're always questioning it. And so when we didn't have the E, when the E didn't happen, we saw this support line coming along, creating a wedge, creating a triangle. And this type of triangle isn't necessarily bullish, or it's not bearish either. It just means something's going to happen at the when it terminates. And more times than not, you know, it can when it happens inside of a correction that's like a failed correction. More times than not, this ending triangle can actually be a continuation of the triangle. But usually it's one of the last formations you have in the correction. Usually, not always, but usually. So when it ever made the E and it started going sideways, we then started going ahead and drawing this triangle. This is several days ago. And then it came through the triangle and it came down. Now, one of the things I talk about all the time is laddering in your trades. What does that mean? Okay, well, if you think the market's going to come down here, yeah, you put a small order in for here. You put a small order in here. You small order in here. A small order in here. You ladder it in. You also put some orders up here, because if you were just guessing from up here where the market would go to, you may not know that the market's only going to come down here, but you still want to catch it before it runs back up again. So that's what laddering is all about. I probably need to make a video on that, because I get some questions on that. We got to make a lot of videos. Let's put it that way. I got a lot of work ahead of me. So what we see here is now this blue triangle that came into effect. Okay? And when this blue triangle came into effect, this blue triangle can actually probably be drawn more like this. Okay? When this blue triangle came into effect, we knew something was going to happen. It's going to go up or it's going to go down. Most likely it's going to go up. The reason why it's most likely going to go up, because it's a downward triangle. It's a downward facing triangle. And we had already gone through a bunch of formations, which heightens the probability of the correction being over. Now, is the correction over? Most likely, yes. However, it's not to say that this could not go down further. Okay, and again, this brings in the whole idea of laddering. However, the probability of it significantly going lower is super low, and that's the name of the game when it comes to trading. And it's like being the house, right? If you're into gambling, you want to be the house. You want to skew the probabilities in your direction, right? And then it's just all about hitting singles. You don't want to hit a home run. Home runs are too risky. You want to hit singles every single time. So if you take a look at this, you know, kind of support resistance line right here, you know, that's kind of where the market ended up. And that's kind of what we were eyeballing. Once this kind of all broke down, we were kind of eyeballing, well, where's kind of like the next level? And it's kind of like this, you know, this range right here. And that's basically where it ended up. And then what happened from there is, what I like, what kind of stopped this whole thing were two things. A, we had a ton of volume come in right here. And it really just pushed this off. I mean, really sprung it up. But you see there were still more sellers in. And this goes back to what I was saying long time ago, must have been weeks already, about me wanting Bitcoin to go down to 8,000 or 9,000, and I got a lot of flack for that. So it's the same reason here too, right? There's still a ton of sellers. Look at all this buy volume that came in, right? All this buy volume came in, and then all of a sudden, boom, it started coming down, on light volume. And then we had this huge buy volume come in again, right? And it didn't move the market as much. that could be kind of scary. We were looking at that. We were kind of grinding our teeth. We're like, that's not necessarily a great sign. And then this came in here. Okay, and this really pushed things up. When it pushed things up, it's showing us there's a lot less sellers. Doesn't mean there's no sellers left. It just means that there's a lot less sellers, because the market always takes the path of least resistance. The market's like water running down a hill. Okay, the hill can be perfectly flat. It could be machined. It could be a hill that was made out of titanium that was machined perfectly flat to most exacting, NASA standards, well within, 100,000th of the thickness of a hair. But you take that water at the top and you drip it down, and it is not going to take a straight path down. It's going to take a meandering path, and that meandering path is a path of least resistance. It's the same exact thing that happens in the markets. It's the same exact thing that allow rivers to cut their path into the countryside. It's the exact same thing. Rivers take the path of least resistance. So same thing, that's what's going on here. You need to try to be able to measure that path of least resistance, and that's kind of what this whole technical analysis, and algorithms are all about. That's what it's all about. And so now we see something promising. We see the market coming back up. We see the market coming up again. There was a sell-off, and it looks like it's holding this little, it's almost like a little triangle, actually. You can almost take a look. The cryptos love triangles. So let's see what happens here, overnight. If this thing kind of sells back down again, tests these lows, it continues going up. It made a new high over this level right here, and that's great. Let's see it hold it, and then try to spring from there. Okay, so we're gonna leave it there for now. We're not gonna go over the algos right now because there's really not much to talk about. I want to look at this more from a technical analysis, not so much from an algorithmic trading analysis. So if you guys have any questions, let us know. At the same time, like I always say, you re-steam or upvote, like, whatever else, comment, whatever you can do would be greatly appreciated. Happy trading. Speak to you guys soon.